Chair notes the presence of a quorum. Pursuant to committee rules, members of the committee may submit written opening statements for the record. Ask that members may revise and extend the remarks on the bills to be considered at this markup and have those remarks included in the record. Without objection, so ordered. Without objection, I'm authorized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. Pursuant to Committee Rule 3I, the chair announces that I may postpone further proceedings today on the question of approving any measure or matter or adopting an amendment on which a recorded vote is offered. I now recognize myself for an opening statement. Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this full committee markup. Today we have a great lineup of legislation for consideration that will help us restore common sense to wildfire suppression and forest management and unlock our public lands and more. As this Congress began, we saw horrific wildfires rage in Southern California, serving as a clear reminder that we have no time to waste. As I've said before, unlike hurricanes or tornadoes, wildfires can actually be prevented with proper forest management. We must come together and pass the long overdue reforms that turn the tide against our current wildfire crisis. Earlier this year, the committee acted in a bipartisan manner, passing the Bipartisan Fix Our Forest Act by an overwhelming margin. This committee is committed to advancing legislation that will restore the health of our nation's forest. We'll have another opportunity to advance common sense forest management reform today. H.R. 178, introduced by Representative McClintock, requires the U.S. Forest Service and Department of the Interior to use all available resources to extinguish a fire within 24 hours of detection. This legislation could not be timelier as we continue to watch the Dragon Bravo fire near the north rim of the Grand Canyon that's burned thousands of acres. It's destroyed historic, cherished lodges and buildings, and it's already racked up hundreds of millions of dollars in damages. While this fire is alarming, what we don't realize is that the National Park Service's monitoring of this fire is allowed and is standard practice by federal land managers across the country. In fact, on July 14th, 2 days after the Dragon Bravo fire exploded, the National Interagency Fire Center reported that across the country, an additional 78 fires are being carefully managed using strategies beyond full suppression. Given the hot and dry conditions that exist across the West, this is 78 fires too many. In times like these, the goal should be to put out the fires. H.R. 179, also introduced by Representative McClintock, expands the successful 10,000-acre categorical exclusion in the Tahoe Basin to apply nationwide. In the words of Gwen Sanchez, the forest supervisor for the Lake Tahoe Basin Management Unit, the forest management work done under the CE is the gold standard of fuels treatment and should be modeled across the country. Both of these bills also support and help advance President Trump's Executive Order 14308, empowering common sense wildfire prevention and response, which restores common sense to wildfire suppression and forest management on all levels of government. H.R. 839, introduced by Congressman Arrington, prohibits the implementation, administration, and enforcement of the Biden administration's plan to increase the size of the Muleshoe National Wildlife Refuge. The plan part of the previous administration's 30 by 30 initiative, or the plan was part of the 30 by 30 initiative, and if fully implemented would result in a 100-fold increase in the size of the refuge, a significant loss in local tax revenues for the community, and increased management responsibilities for the National Wildlife Refuge system at a time when the system already faces $2 billion in maintenance backlog. Finally, we will consider 11 UC bills on which we have reached a bipartisan agreement. These bills include creating a fee-free day for all on our public lands in honor of America's 250th birthday, supporting ocean monitoring activities, and establishing a wildfire research institute in Utah. Before I yield back, I would like to recognize and thank Anique Miller for her distinguished service to the Committee on Natural Resources. Anique serves as Staff Director for the Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries Subcommittee and has been with the committee for over 6 years. Her leadership and tireless efforts have resulted in numerous legislative accomplishments, including the ACE Act, the Beach Act, the Klamath Basin Water Agreement Support Act, the Fishes Act, the Explore Act, and many, many more. Anique is one of the most knowledgeable staffers on Capitol Hill, and she has been instrumental in the success of the committee. She is also a tremendous mentor, manager, and teammate who is always up for a challenge and there to support her coworkers. Next month, Anik will be moving on to a new opportunity, and although she is leaving, she will always be Team Resources. We wish Anik, her husband Adam, and her daughter Emma the very best. Thank you, Anik, for your steadfast service and commitment to the Committee on Natural Resources in the House of Representatives. And with